kind of needs to happen, and I have no idea what the solution is. They need to make some kind of special salary cap exemption for running backs. It's gotten completely insane, the devaluing of them, but also what they do to them, because they know the shelf life is short anyway. So the guys that they do get, they try to run into the ground at times. Like it's completely unfair to them to have their careers last shorter and shorter, and their ability to really make an impact reduce more and more, and yet teams will not pay them when their contracts are up. And you get why these guys now are like, hey, I've got like 2 years left of my prime, especially the way that you're giving me the ball. Pay me now. Like I'm gonna work my butt off for you for the next 2 years, and you take every single bit of value out of my legs, and then it's time to get a contract. You're like, nah, you're already running to the ground because you did it. It's a really tough situation for running backs going forward. It's a really, really bad time to be a running back.
Zeke hasn't spoken about it yet. Ezekiel Elliott hasn't spoken about it. This was all behind-the-scenes stuff that, hey, he may hold out because he's going to make $3 and I think it's $9 million respectively the next 2 years. Gordon is speaking. And he's saying that a bunch of the dudes on the team have his back, and did he also say that other running backs around the league have called him to support him?
He said a lot of them have called him.
By the way, they should be. Now, I don't know if it makes a difference, but in theory, all these running backs should be working together because you're all screwed.
Yeah, of course. If Zeke Elliott and Melvin Gordon aren't going to get paid, you're not either. And so he said a lot of running backs have reached out to me just saying go out and get what you deserve. A lot of them, a lot of starters, a lot of backs. But he said he still wants to go to the Chargers in the end. That's his goal, is to play for the Chargers. But it's just it's a time where this is where he has to get paid. He just does. And I get it as if you're a fan of the team, and me being a lifelong Chargers fan, Steve.
Yes, well documented. Yep.
As a fan, of course, you're like, hey, just go play. Like, you're under contract, go play. But it's really not that easy, and it's a really dangerous time. The running backs have to figure out how to get their money when they can get it. And if the teams aren't going to pay them, I think you're going to see more and more of these things happening.
Can you see the Chargers side? He's going to make $5.6 million.
Sure.
He is hurt a lot.
Yeah.
He got hurt at the end of last year. Now, let's remind people, how did he get hurt?
How did he get hurt?
He got hurt late in the game, meaningless moments.
That's right.
And they kept him in.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Now, he could get hurt at any point, but why was he in the game in a freaking blowout when he's one of the linchpin players on your team? The bottom line is it wasn't just last year. He's been hurt in previous years. And he's actually only rushed for 1,000 yards one time in his first 4 years. Now, keep in mind, he's also a guy who is good for 400 to 600 yards receiving out of the backfield. So most years, he's somewhere between 1,300 and 1,500 total yards. He's a complete running back, a great weapon, both in the pass game and the run game.
Yeah, it's a guy that you absolutely want to have. And there's a lot of guys that can do the job, but there are certain ones that, bring something extra to the table. He seems to be one of those guys. I would absolutely, if I was his agent and I was him, there's no way I'd be playing without a new contract. This is where you have to get paid. You have to do it. But again, as you said, you see both sides. You see why the Chargers wouldn't want to. You also see why teams don't want to pay running backs. And it's devastating to the cap when you pay a running back that much, especially when it's looked at, for the most part, as an interchangeable position where you just bring in the next guy. As long as you're blocking well for him, it doesn't matter. But there are guys that are game changers, and they need to get paid when they're ready.
How about this one? We talked about other running backs supporting him. Should Zeke and Melvin Gordon act like LeVeon Bell? Because we know LeVeon Bell, most of that was not for him. My Jets running back.
He was doing it for the good of running backs around the league.
He did it for the rest of the running backs.
Yeah.
I kid. But are Gordon and Zeke under a little bit of pressure? Like, now you've got two guys, not just one, in Le'Veon Bell. Now you've got two of the, we'll say, top 7 running backs in football have a chance to wrestle some power back from the owners and send a message for the rest of the running backs that they have some pressure on them to stand strong and also do it for the rest of the crew. Or is that just laughable in 2019 sports?
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to get guys to jump on that. I mean, guys are going to do what they have to do to get their money. I don't think guys are going to fight the fight for other people in their position as much as Le'Veon Bell said it was for him. But I think Melvin Gordon is at least putting out he's at least putting that out there. He's putting it out into the universe of a lot of these running backs are calling me up and basically saying, without saying it, saying like, I'm doing it for them, they're doing it for me. Like, we're all together on this. But I think in the end, when it comes down to negotiating and figuring it out, it's going to be get what you can for yourself. But yeah, I think there's a part of the narrative to this of running backs have to take some sort of stand to get what they need. Like it's the devaluing of that position, and then they don't get picked early in the draft anymore, with the incredibly rare exception.
Well, these two were picked pretty early,
right? But what I'm saying is for the benefit of the position, like that's what it's gotten to of guys don't even pick. So even their rookie deals aren't that great anymore. These guys being two of the last ones that were picked early, but even the top running backs now aren't getting first round money for the most part. So by the time their rookie contract ends, then they're already like damaged goods. It's insane how it works like that now. The position, it used to be a glamour position, and there's still a couple of guys that are glamour players, but they're not treated like that.
Prediction on which one gets a new deal first, or do both get snubbed? Because I 100% believe one will beat the other to the finish line on a new deal.
Well, I think Ezekiel Elliott will get a deal.
Yep. Why is that?
Because it's Jerry Jones.
Yep. Because Jerry Jones is a moron.
Yes.
And Jerry Jones also knows that Zeke is super important to his brand, and I think sometimes for Jones, the brand is more important than winning. Yeah. And on the other side, like I believe Tom Telesco is one of the 5 best GMs on all of football. He is working for one of the cheapest owners in the history of football.
Yeah.
In Spanos.
Yeah, agreed. But in the Zeke Elliott case too, there's the added dimension of Jerry Jones has been so in the corner of Ezekiel Elliott and defended him on everything.
Yeah.
And now if you come back and you're like, we can't sign this guy, look at all of his off-the-field issues. You're the one that defended him.
Yep.
You're the one that stood for him the whole time. You can't now use that against him, or you can, but you looked at as foolish.
So we're both in agreement? Jerry will cave?
I think so.
Yeah, the Chargers, I don't know. And I understand it from both sides, but man, Spanos, and the last couple of high-profile deals were with Joey Bosa. That one finally got done, but it got done really late. Done really late, and then there was a really ugly one with Eric Weddle.
Yeah.
Which, the guy had been around forever, and they're like, nope, we're not paying you.
Exactly. And the Bosa one impacted the start of the season.
No doubt. No doubt, right? Chargers have a history. Now, they probably should be a little more open to, and what we're talking about are bonuses. So that, the bonuses aren't directly related to like that year's revenue. Like you got to put up some extra money. That was a lot of the talk around the Raiders. Like Mark Davis might not have the cash on hand, or may not have had the cash on hand to deal with Khalil Mack at the time.
Yeah, I think it was very possible.
With Brown, well, guess what? Things are easier with Antonio Brown. Why? Because the stadium is just about here. The move is just about here. That's been a reality, I think, for Spanos combo cheap and also not having the money to put up big bonus money. But guess what? Guess who else has a stadium on the way? Guess who else has his franchise tripling in value? Spanos. So we'll see how he handles it.